Guys, welcome back to Full Time Reds. Thank you for joining me on this Monday morning. And what a Monday morning it has been. I was not expecting this. I was not thinking we'll have a jam-packed show. Today I was just getting over England's performance last night, which we will not go into. But yeah, very busy Monday morning we've had so far in the space of Manchester United. Dan Ashworth, news brought last night. We're going to look at that and then what happened this morning. De Ligt's picking up pace, Xerxes and Ugarte as well. So yeah, if you've not subscribed, if you've not got involved with us, please do so. It means a lot to me. Any support we do get, it means a lot. I read all the comments on all the platforms, so thank you so much. Let's get started. Last night, around 10, 11 o'clock, I think Rob Dawson said United are close to getting a deal with Dan Ashworth. And this morning, basically, if I can just pull up my screen, let me just sort this out. David Ornstein broke the big news that Manchester United have agreed a deal with Newcastle to appoint Dan Ashworth as sporting director. The move delayed by the PSR issues both clubs were facing, but now they've done the deal and he's come into play straight away and he starts immediately. This is very, very interesting regarding Dan Ashworth. I said this a few weeks ago, if you've been watching me, that the reason this has not gone to court is that Manchester United and Newcastle are negotiating this in private because none of Newcastle would not want this to go to court. It would look embarrassing for them. It would also look really bad on their behalf because if they appointed other staff members and they wanted to leave, would they all have to go through this kind of situation where you're being put on held ransom, and it didn't look good. But the deal was done. Jim Ratcliffe means business. He's not fucking around. He is in this and he is here to be a serious, serious player. He's got his man. He's got his man to start early, and this is a big, big move. Really, really big move because one, it's the first time as a club we've had a sporting director in a role with power, with the power to make moves, with the power to do what he wants and what he sees fit for the best interest of Manchester United, rather than having somebody there with the title who can't really do anything and has to go up the ladder to get decisions made, which can take weeks on weeks. And I think this is a really, really big move that has taken place this morning. Dan Ashworth will be starting immediately in the next day, even by tomorrow this evening. I think he's probably been working in the background on Manchester United, in my opinion. And I think he needs to get to work. What he needs to do is, before we go on our pre-season tour, we ideally need to get 3 signings through the window. A defender, midfielder and striker, and that gives us a good base to work off. And there's outgoings that need to be looked at also. So, for example, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof are hot at the moment, who looks like they might be leaving. And then you've got, obviously, Jadon Sancho, Mason Greenwood. Them are 4 that on the top of my head that could be gone immediately. Casemiro is an also interesting one. But with Dan Ashworth in place and Jason Wilcox, Omar Brada starts on the 15th. That's a whole new senior leadership team at Manchester United. And for the first time ever, we've had a leadership team of this scale. Obviously, we've had Fergie in the past, but Fergie was a one-off. You're never going to get that again. He just ran the show. He was in charge. He did everything, and that was it. He was sporting director. He was head scout. He was fucking fitness. He was the lot. So let's just forget that. I witnessed that. I'm 40 now, and I saw that for 20 years. You'll never ever see that again. But as a team that operates at a high level, this is a big, big move by Manchester United. It's an exciting move. It's a quick move, and Jim Ratcliffe is moving really, really quickly. This guy means business. You've already seen that with what's happened with the training ground, with the stadium, with senior appointments. And what you have to understand is the guy only took over in February. And we've moved really, really quickly. A lot of fans were restless regarding Dan Ashworth, saying, "Oh, they're gonna have to pay 20 million. He's gonna have to be on gardening leave." These were people that have no idea on how these kind of things work in business. He was never gonna go on gardening leave for that long. Newcastle could not stop him legally from taking another job and working. Newcastle could not hold him for ransom for 20 million when his own salary might have been about a million or whatever. And lastly, an executive going for 20 million is unheard of and it wouldn't stand in court. That's why Newcastle came to the table, negotiated this, and realized that, look, we need to. Look, forget about Manchester United, forget about Newcastle. These clubs have to deal with each other regularly. You have to meet each other at meetings. You might need to sell players. You might need to buy players. You might need to vote on things. So it's best to have a relationship that you can get on with. And if you look at City, that deal was done really quickly for Omar Barada because City understood, look, he wants to go. We'll agree a fee and he goes. There's no point keeping a staff member that doesn't want to stay. So I think Newcastle just played this really badly. It's done, and we move forward with that. But it'll be interesting to see things pick up. Keep your eye on the fitness department at Manchester United and what happens next with them, in my opinion. I think you'll see some changes in that also because our fitness, our medical departments have not been performing for decades, and I think that will get a shake up also. I'm just going to share the next story. Please bear with me as quite new to still using this system that I've got here, this new software. And the second story, which is breaking last night, is let me pull it up. Here we go. Okay, is the De Ligt story, which is Manchester United and FC Bayern are now in contact about a permanent deal for De Ligt. Understand that De Ligt's agent Rafaela Pimenta worked on a top solution. De Ligt keen to join Manchester United under Ten Hag as reported, but there's no total agreement yet. De Ligt can sign a contract until 2029, being reported by the very reliable Mark. I won't say Mike. Sorry, Mike. I won't say the second name because I'll just butcher it. But he's very famous in Holland, very reliable, and this story is also breaking at some pace. Also, um, De Ligt is. I don't know whether this is an alternative to Branthwaite or it's De Ligt and Branthwaite, but De Ligt at Ajax was a very highly regarded player, somebody that a lot of clubs looked at and paid a lot of money for. Juventus paid, I think, 70 million or 80 million euros for him at the time. He spent 3 years at Juventus, and he had a bit of an injury prone. What first season I think was second, and then he really did well. But then they sold him, and then he went to Bayern 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure 2 years ago, and he's been. The fans love him, but Nagelsmann kind of played him, and then Tuchel played Eric Dyer over him, which is a bit worrying if Eric Dyer is playing over De Ligt. But um, what we have to understand as United fans is we are in a position where we are eighth in the league. We don't have Champions League. We're a very yo-yo club in regards to form. We're not going to go and sign a top centre back. We are going to have to play clever in the market and sign players that potentially we could get more out of, players that are a bit under the radar, players that like Ugarte isn't a starter for PSG, even though you all these fan channels and can pump him as much as they want. He can't get in at PSG. But this is how you build. You have to scout these players properly. You have to feel that your coaching setup and your team can get more out of them. And you have to believe that, look, we can get these players to perform. De Ligt does worry me slightly because of his injury record and his speed, but he is a good defender if you can get him playing. I'm not against this deal. If we can get him under 40 million euros and get his wages under 200,000, I'm all for it. But I think we need one more at centre back. And then you'd have Martinez, De Ligt plus one, Maguire, and then Johnny Evans in a last resort. With Wan Bissaka going also, we might need to replace him. But look, there's a lot of changes going on. Late is a good option, but what you'll notice is, and I've said this in my last video if you've not seen it, we are moving at a very good pace. We are not doing one deal at a time. There's multiple deals going on. So Everton, if they try pulling our pants down, you can see straight away that really, well, look, we're willing to negotiate, but if you're going to say no, it's 75 million only, we'll move on. The days of United being held to ransom are gone because we're not interested in that. We're not going to do that. And from Man United's point of view, it's really good that the way they are moving quick. Normally to get 3 deals over the line, we'll be in mid-August, and looks like we should get 3 done by this week, hopefully, which would be De Ligt, Xerxes, and Ugarte, and I'm pretty happy with Then we can focus on the 4 to 5 outgoings, which in my opinion would be Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Casemiro, Mason Greenwood, and Sancho. And then you're left with, a bit of leeway to bring in more players, negotiate a bit harder on some players, and start bedding in a style of play and a style of how you want to operate in the market. But it's positive. It's a positive Monday morning in the Manchester United world and community. I'll be back on Thursday with a special guest and a podcast. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. Please do subscribe, and I will